My guest launched her blog in 2014 titled LJ, a blog sharing dating tales of modern single women who love God and love. She always had a love of storytelling and reading from a very young age. She released her first published book in 2020. Doing Time Being Single Was My Crime. It is a collection of common experiences many singles face on the journey to their happily ever after. All of the highs and lows of the modern dating experience many Christians face while trying to stay true to their core Christian values in a society that doesn't always positively embrace them. This love letter to singles around the globe is a symbol of solidarity and encouragement to stay true to self while trusting God to grant you the desires of your heart. Please welcome my guest and author, LaKeija Jackson.
Yay, thank you
Hey.
so much for having me, Carmen. Hi.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing good. I cannot complain even in these real trying times, you know.
Right.
I'm healthy, I'm safe, and I'm happy, so I'm good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that's the blessing in all of it when you can say that, right?
Exactly, exactly. But we're here to talk about you and talk about your wonderful, amazing new book that you have out.
Yay.
I was so excited when I saw you post this on your social media pages because I know this was something that, you and I are really good friends and we've talked
Yeah.
about this and we've talked about the subject and, you've mentioned about your blog and for you to take all of your work and all of your passion pieces is what I call them and put them together in a book. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much. You're right. We've had many conversations about this, and you've been so encouraging. When I mentioned I wanted to write the book, so I really appreciate all your support from day one.
Absolutely. So, why don't you tell my listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself and your journey and how it has led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Carolina. Been in the Carolinas most of my life. I grew up an Army brat, so we kind of bounced around a good bit. But my parents settled back in the Carolinas, and currently reside in Charlotte. Really love the area. Went to school not too far from here, and so I think being an Army kid and bouncing around, you really cherish like relationships and meeting new people and experiences, and that's who I am still to this day. I love meeting new people, trying new things, and cultivating new relationships. And so I think that has helped really shape who I am and the importance to me of good connections and good relationships with people. So it's a little bit about me.
Yes. And so you wrote your book, Doing
hmm
Time. Now, tell me, how did you come up with that title? That's a very interesting title.
It's crazy. I didn't even really put a lot of thought into it. I think it all just kind of came down to being at this age in my life, and people are always like, what are you waiting for? And the time is ticking, or they act like being single is like some type of punishment or scarlet letter. And so I was like, well, you know what? I'm doing my time, I guess you could say then. So that's kind of how I put that together. And so I was like, you know what? And my only crime is I'm single.
And so, yeah, being single and especially if you're single and you're over a certain age and maybe not have children, people look
hmm
at you or can look at a person as if something's wrong.
Right.
And it makes no sense to me. I mean, I was married and I have children and now I'm divorced and single. And when people look at other people like that, I'm like, you know what? They're actually okay. They're okay. They're
Yeah, it doesn't mean
just
there's something wrong.
no. There's absolutely nothing wrong. They are okay. But we do have that
Yeah.
stigma and that kind of
Right.
thought process, And so how do you combat that?
To be totally transparent, that was something that I let bother me for a long time. I used to make excuses for it, especially like in my 20s. I'd be like, oh, I'm young, I have time, or, I'm focused on my career, I'm having fun, I'm traveling, I'm doing, just whatever, just to change the subject or get the topic to something else. And I finally started realizing that I don't owe anyone an explanation. My singleness is not a badge of shame or like a symbol that something is wrong with me or I'm missing something. And so I kind of took that power back and was like, listen, I, there's nothing wrong with me. It doesn't mean that, I did anything wrong or anything like that. And so I think when I came to that realization and started realizing that, it wasn't anything wrong with me. It just wasn't my timing yet. And, being a Christian woman and woman of faith, and I truly believe that, there's a time for everything in a season. And I just have come to the conclusion that, my time hasn't come yet. And that's totally okay.
Yes, it is. It is definitely okay. And, so why was it important for you to write this book?
For a lot of different reasons. I started realizing when I started the blog in 2014 that I wasn't the only one having these feelings. I kind of started it just to kind of talk about dating, in this time and all that kind of stuff. I really didn't have the foresight of where it would go. It was when I started hearing from different people saying, like, oh, I felt this or I've gone through this. And I'm like, okay. And people would be like, oh, when are you going to write a book? And I've always had the dream of writing a book. I've always wanted to be a published author, but I never in a million years wanted to write about singleness. Like, listen, I'm doing enough writing the blog and talking about dating. But it wasn't something that I wanted to write. And it was truly last August of 2019 when this thought came to me to write this. And I was just like, really, God? Like, this is what you want me to write about? And I had to just pray about it and be obedient and realize that it wasn't just for me. And after hearing back from different people that I know and I don't know that have actually read it, that have given me that confirmation, like, yep, I was obedient. I was supposed to write this because it wasn't just for me.
Yeah, I mean, so what does singleness mean to you?
Singleness to me, it means that this is my time with God. This is my time to accomplish things that He put me on this planet to accomplish. I don't think that I couldn't still do a lot of these things if I had a husband or kids. Like, not saying that at all. But I do
It
think
makes it
that,
difficult. It makes it
yeah,
difficult.
right.
Yeah.
So right now, my focus is different and I have the time to solely focus on the things that I want to accomplish for myself and things that I want to do and fulfill the purpose that I feel like He's put, me on this earth to do. And so I really wanted to empower women through this book and say, you know what, use your singleness for good. Like, this is your time to, whether you've never been married, whether you're divorced, separated, whatever it is, don't feel like you have to be in a marriage to accomplish different things. I think your single time is a time to really excel and do the things that you truly want to do to fulfill your purpose.
Yeah. Do you think in writing this book, well, actually, how in writing this book
Mm-hmm.
did it allow you to become more of your authentic self?
It really gave me peace with where I am in my life. And the more, it was crazy that it really was therapeutic and just kind of putting pen to paper and putting it out there and sharing it. Because, some of the thoughts were things that I hadn't shared with friends or family and things like that. It was just conversations I've just had with God. And it really has made me realize that, you know what? I'm not lacking anything. I'm not behind. That was something that I, kind of beat
Mm-hmm.
myself up about. Like, oh my goodness, at this age, whatever, I'm behind. I was supposed to be
And,
married with 3 kids by now.
and where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that timeline comes from?
Oh, society. It's like everywhere we look, and it baffles me sometimes because we see this pressure from the media, sometimes the church, our families, and all those type of things for women, but you don't
Right.
really see that emphasis for men. We're groomed from little girls with playing with dolls, like, oh, you're gonna make a great mom someday. You do a good job cleaning your home and making a house feel like a home. Oh, you're gonna be a
Yes.
great wife someday. It's like we're groomed, and I must, come from Southern parents, Southern roots. when I was no longer in my 20s and I still wasn't married, my family, started asking those questions every Christmas dinner, when you gonna get married? When you gonna have some children? And, after a while, you start to internalize that,
Yeah. Yeah.
no matter how much you love your career or whatever you're doing, you will start to kind of self reflect and be like, okay, am I missing something? By not being on this timeline that someone else established for me.
Sure. And what I find interesting is that, like you said, when you are single and your minded and focused, then the questions come in about the family, the husband,
Mm-hmm.
when. But when it's the other way around and say, hey, like in my case, I got married at 21. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I had dreams and aspirations of things I wanted to do, but I made the
Right.
conscious decision and choice to get married at that age and to support my husband's career at that time. But, in doing that, no one came to me and said, "Hey, where's that career?
Right.
where, where are those other things that you could be doing in life?
Right.
Time is ticking on the career. So it's interesting of how it's flip flop because
Yeah.
if you are career minded and focused, that's fine for men.
Right.
But it's flipped for women, and so I just always have seen that to be something that I'm picked up on, and I'm like, why ain't nobody encouraging me to,
Right.
why
Exactly.
there's no timeline on my career. But that was something that I had for myself. So
Yeah.
internally, I had a timeline, and my clock was ticking for me for getting my career started. So
Yeah.
even though I didn't get that encouragement outside, I had that inside, and so I just find that is an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Um, and so, what was the experience like writing this book?
Oh man, it was interesting, and as I would write these stories, some of them are things I personally experienced. Some, family or friends have shared the different examples, and so it was a very interesting kind of therapeutic time, like I said. And I honestly, a lot of it, I wish I could have told my younger self. I kind of feel like I would have saved myself some heartache. From a relationship or just, pressures I put on myself. And so that's why I wanted to kind of have the narrative of a love letter to singles around the globe and tell them the things that I wish that someone had maybe said to me earlier on. And so it was definitely a great experience. I was happy to get a lot of it out. It's a little nerve wracking sometimes because it's you're putting out some personal tidbits about yourself. But like I said, I prayed about it from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And, the prayer that I had throughout the process, Carmen, was that if only one person felt like it helped them, it encouraged them in any way, then I was happy. So it was worth kind of, talking about a subject I didn't necessarily want to talk about on a, large platform in a book. But to me, it was worth it because if that one person, felt empowered or felt like, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one that feels this way, then it was worth it.
Yeah, I definitely think your book does a great job of going in and really sharing the thoughts of those who are single and the struggles and the challenges that they face, and
Yeah.
just even the things that they are facing out there in the single world, because dating, oh baby,
Whew.
in this age,
It's
you know
different.
I've had the, I don't know what you want to call it, the pleasure maybe of dating in two different decades. So
Yeah.
it is completely different than way back in my day than what it is right now.
Right.
And so what do you find are some of the struggles and the challenges of dating now?
Oh man, I hear so many women just feel like um, guys just have so many choices, and it feels like a competition almost from the women's perspective, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. And guys may not feel the same way, but I think a lot of women just feel this pressure of one, getting married, and there aren't a lot of men that feel that pressure. They have time. And so it's hard. It's hard to, I feel like we are in a society that is just, I call it the microwave society. Everybody
Mm.
wants everything quick, 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 quick. And it takes time to build a foundation, to build a friendship, and go from there to from courting to dates. Like, no one courts or dates anymore. Everybody just wants to Netflix and chill. Let's hang out. And it's just like, oh, okay, but where are we going with it?
Where
And
is this
so,
going? Yes.
yeah,
Where
so
is
I
this
feel
going?
like we're on different ends of the spectrum. It's like there's a lot of people who want that long-term love, marriage, commitment, and then there's other people who are like, I'm just having fun. Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
And that can get so frustrating when you are truly ready. You got this. Unfortunately, women, we have a time clock, and then you have all these people that just want to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, so what would you encourage, women who do feel pressure, who do
Yeah.
feel like their clock is, ticking, so to speak? What would you say to encourage them during this time?
One, I would definitely say, stay true to yourself. I don't think that you have to change who you are. I don't think you have to change your morals, your values, or anything like that to get what you want. I truly think that God has a plan for each and every one of us. But I also encourage women to get out of their own way too. You're not going to find Mr. Right sitting at home all the time. You have to make yourself available. You have to be out there to meet different people, and don't just go for your type. Be open to different people, different experiences. I think that it helps not only with dating, but just to have a more well-rounded life in general. Learn new skill, go to a new place that you may not have gone before. And I think that opens up the world to meet new people. Because I know when I've done that, I may not have met Mr. Right, but I found something else I enjoy doing. So I might meet my Mr. Right there. So yeah, just be open to the endless possibilities and trust that God has a plan for you.
That's great advice. I love that. Are you planning to write more books?
I am. I really would love to write more books. I can't say they're going to be about dating, but yeah, that's something I really enjoy writing. So I definitely want to do that.
um, I there's a particular blog post or chapter, so to speak, in here that I really love, and I'm not going to spoil it for everyone who hasn't read the book, but it's the last one. Um, I love that one.
Thank
Um,
you.
but I want you to read one of your favorite passages from your
Okay.
book, one that I would say, resonates really deeply within you so that people can kind of get an idea and a feel about what this book really brings.
Yeah, so I think when I think of the one that probably the most personal and resonated the most, it would be "What Are You Waiting For?"
Mm.
And I say that because that question haunted me for a
Mm.
long time. And people probably like, okay, well, why? It's crazy, those words, and it can take
It's,
a
it almost seems like they're putting it on you, like as if you
right
have all
total
of
control.
control of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and so it started getting where, like I said, at family dinners or you're around other people and they say, oh, how old are you? What do you do? Yada yada yada, and it would always come up and be like, what are you waiting for? And like I said, before I would try to make excuses and all those kind of things, and it just would bother me so much. And then I had to realize that I'm waiting on God. I'm not,
Hmm.
I can't go out there and do it myself. If I go outside of his realm to try to get something, it's not going to be blessed because it's not what he, has for me. So
Yes.
I'll read the first part of it to not give it all away. But
Okay.
like I said, it's entitled, What Are You Waiting For? I ran into an old family friend today, and she asked me a familiar question. Today, it struck a chord. Familiar enough with my family, she knew I was unmarried and without children. So she asked me that all too common question, What are you waiting for? As if I have a magic wand to grant my desired wish of a husband and children. She asked me like she was disturbed by my absence of a husband and kids. She seemed slightly disgusted that at the thought of a 30 plus woman living without a man and offspring. I took a deep breath, remembering the manners that my parents taught me, and I smiled and I just said, waiting on God to make it happen. And
Yeah.
that's what has, you know, helped me to not be so haunted by that question anymore. Like I said, when I finally had that aha moment and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that switch flip where it was like, it's not up to me. It's not all up to me. I can't just go out there and just wave a magic wand and my husband and children appear. That is something that, God has to make happen for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say that one is, very personal. And it's funny, I think we talked after that question doesn't go away, you
Yeah.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
I've heard from so many people who, they got that question when they were single. What are you waiting for? Okay, they
Yes.
get married. Then as soon as they get married, when you having some kids, what you waiting on? Okay, you have a child. Then when you gonna have another one? What are you waiting on? And so it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this haunt me.
And it happens if you get divorced. You
Yeah,
know,
see,
it happens then too. What are you waiting on? What do you mean? What am I waiting on? I just got
right.
divorced. I'm like, I'm trying to
Give me
chill.
a moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
can give me a second.
Yes, I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to catch my breath.
So it's like it's just one of those things you just have to realize. People they mean
They want to
well.
they want to
Yeah,
they want to see you where they believe
right.
that you will be happy according to
Exactly.
their preferences and their standards. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I completely get it. And I love that answer, waiting on God, because you know that when you do wait on him, that it's perfect.
Right.
It's perfect in the sense that, it is with it's in his will. And so,
Exactly.
therefore, it's not going to have to take all of these different things you have to do to try to get it. It comes to you,
Right.
and God
Right.
brings it to you in the manner that He wants you to have it, and you're prepared and you're ready for it. So,
Exactly.
I think that's another thing that, people don't really take into account about, are you ready? Are you ready
Exactly.
not to be single?
Yeah.
A lot of people, oh, I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready to be married. I'm ready. Okay, you're
Are
ready for
you?
that, but are you ready not to be
Yeah.
single?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people who are in relationships and marriages still acting single.
Mm,
And it's just like, why didn't you just stay single? And I think, unfortunately, some people get caught up in, those timetables that other people put on them. They feel like, okay,
yes.
well, I've been dating this person for 10 years. Let me get married so my family can start, harassing me about it. If you're
Yeah.
not ready, you're not ready. And, I believe that so much. You have to be prepared. And that's, one of the things in my waiting season. I've asked God, I'm like, prepare me to be a wife, prepare me to be a mom.
Right.
And, looking back, I'm glad I wasn't a wife or mom in my 20s. I was selfish, I wasn't ready. So it happened, in the right timetable for me, I think.
Yes, yes, it does. So, what do you do for self care? I'm a big self care advocate and loving oneself, taking care of oneself. What do you do?
Oh yes. So, oh man, going for a good run is good for me. I love to just get out there and to get rid of that stress. And then I'll go and have like a spa day or a facial or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are things that I really enjoy. And oddly enough, I never had a really good green thumb. My grandmother was a florist. My dad and sister have it, but in this pandemic, I don't know what's happened. I have a garden
You grew a
and
green thumb?
I grew a green thumb and it's going well. So That has been a lot of fun. That's
That's
been,
awesome.
giving me, something else to fill my time that I really enjoy. And, it's just like a very calming experience just to be out there. I feel like a little plant lady now
Yeah. You
out
know
there.
what it is?
So,
You know what it really is though? You are bringing life forth.
oh, that's so
You're
true.
bringing life. That's why it resonates so much with you because you are literally putting something in the ground, tending to it,
Mm,
nurturing
yeah,
it, and then it grows.
growth. Yeah,
So
that is so true.
you're bringing life forth when you are
Yeah,
planting. It is a very spiritual and a very healing type of thing to do. So
yeah.
that's probably why it resonates so well with you.
Oh, I love the way you put that. Yeah, it's so fun, and I just have a little. I don't have like a full yard or anything, but so my little patio, and I just go sit out there, and I really enjoy it. So I've incorporated that as part of my self care because
Nice.
it's something I really enjoy, especially
Hmm.
after a stressful day or something with work. And I really enjoy those things. So yeah, self care is so important.
Yes.
My saying is you can't pour from an empty cup. So
Hmm.
I enjoy
Hmm.
it.
That's right. Well, I am so glad and so appreciative of your time today. Guys, please go out and get this book. It's a great book. It is
Thank
a
you.
true love letter, as she says, to those of us who are single and who are not single. I think it is something that anyone can get a lot of value and a lot of good information from. And so tell the listeners and viewers where they can follow you to get more information and where they can buy the book.
Yes, so they can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is with love underscore LJ, and that's WITHLUV underscore LJ. That's on Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook. It's just LJELLEJAY. And you can purchase the book on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, LaKeisha. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
And
you so
I
much.
know that everyone is going to love the book when they read it.
Thank you so much for having me, Carmen. I really appreciate you and all your
Absolutely.
support and encouragement.
You're welcome. All right. Bye bye.